So yeah, as I said, I'm going to be going up to California probably until like September or October. And my plan is to offer private sessions there, which I'm excited about. And again, I've had to look at the risk. Like that would be indoors as well. It'll be just in the East Bay, and up at Harbin if more people want to do intensives. This is for somebody's birthday that I'm doing the intensive. It's for his wife's birthday, and we're going to spend the weekend just doing sessions. And I think that'll be really, really lovely. So, yeah, I'm excited about being in California for a little while, and people were starting to ask if I was going to be um, if I was going to be doing evening classes, but I looked at that and I just think there's too much risk because then you've got to have everybody test and make check everybody's vaccination before for a 3 hour event, and that felt very complicated to me. So I think it's different if you're going for a weekend camp out or something. I think that's a different thing than it's a few days. But I just decided that was a lot of legwork. Um, so that's my choice, at least for now. And we'll see. Sorry, my kitty cat is running in and out as we go. So now I know you'd asked me another question before. I know we were talking COVID before we started recording, but there was one other question that you had asked. And was it about the retreat, perhaps? Trying to remember now. Okay. Yeah, so I'll share that we had one particularly challenging participant that came on the retreat. I mean, she was allergic to rose water. She complained about the seeds in the grapes and that the sand was hot on the beach. I mean, it was to that level of, and I'm just giving you the highlight reel. She complained kind of about everything. So she was a little bit difficult, but her partner was wonderful. And the group worked out really, really beautifully. It was a lovely, intimate group, and it felt really good to be back teaching again. I hadn't realized just how much I'd missed it until I was back doing that again with everybody. So I'm already starting to look at new venues and where I will, where I'll teach next, and looking at timings for that. And I guess this just, again, it's so hard to plan because we don't know which variants are coming down the pike and what could be happening. But I reckon if I keep the numbers small again, then that makes it a little bit easier. And I'll probably do the next one in Mexico again, is my thought. So, does that mean, I mean, are you not traveling at all?
No, I don't. I don't travel much at all.
Okay. Where was the festival that you went to?
Hmm. Strawberry Music Festival in the Nevada County Fairgrounds in Grass Valley.
Okay, great. So that's not far.
No, like
That's not far at all.
4 hours.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I did have some questions for you because you are one of the faithful ones that always shows up and is always here and comes for the AMAs, the Ask Me Anythings. But I really want to be giving the patrons what they want. And, I come up with my own ideas, but I moved it to tonight because I thought this would work for Kathy. So sorry, I know you'd moved another thing to accommodate it. But anyway, Tuesday night obviously didn't work for her either. So I'm just curious to hear, as somebody who is in one of my upper tier patrons, I know you've enjoyed the merchandise that's come. But I'm curious, what are the things and what kinds of events would you like to see or have, or does it matter when I bring guests on or not? Or tell me about what it is you want as my patron.
I have enjoyed the guests you've brought on. They're thoughtful and knowledgeable and really delightful. And I liked it when you um, flirted with at least one of them.
When I flirted with one, oh yeah, I frequently flirt if they're friends of mine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I like that a lot. I enjoyed that because I like seeing the dynamic,
Great.
any dynamic that I can understand, and you would talk about it and laugh about it.
Oh, are you thinking of Lee Harrington right now?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Well,
I was trying to remember who I flirted with.
I couldn't remember, but yeah, Lee mostly and Midori.
And Midori, yes.
Um, so I love that. I know it's a lot of work to get guest speakers, a lot of work. I mean, I have an event. It's an amazing amount of preparation. And the other thing I love is chanting. Just
Yes, that'll be
chanting.
the next one.
Yeah.
Great. I'm so
I'm
glad that you
happy.
love the chanting.
I'm happy with whatever you do. Um, I appreciate that it's on Zoom. I don't know if that's really working out for you. Um,
For
it
me,
is
it's
good.
working great, especially being in Mexico. To do Zoom is easy for me.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm happy. I
Okay.
love. I love the chanting. I mean, that's.
Yes, we will do more of that. I had to complete the retreat, then I had to recover from that.
Oh yeah.
And now, it's going to take me 5 days to drive to the bay. It's not a
Ooh.
little trip, it's a long trip. And I'm traveling this time with my kitten, which I've never done before. I know, so that's going to be quite the adventure. I'm feeling both excited and nervous about it. Um, but we'll only be driving 5 or 6 hours a day, and she's pretty used to the car. So once I've done that, and I'm a little more, and I go straight after I arrive because my departure's been a bit delayed. I was supposed to be leaving today, and the brakes on my car need to be fixed. The dealership was like, please don't even take the car home tonight. And I'm like, I live an hour away. I have to have my car. I can't not have a car for 2 weeks. So the brakes are working. One of them is really not good. It's in the red. So that's getting fixed on Thursday finally. We had to wait for the parts from the US. And then I'll drive up, but I'm arriving right before my Harbin intensive, so I will just basically get ready for that and then go to Harbin, and then I'm taking my son away to the Avenue of the Giants for a week, which I think will be quite lovely. Actually, I've taken him once years and years ago, maybe like 10 years ago, just for a night.
Which things can Kitty Callie go on? Is she
Oh,
going?
which trips can she go on? I don't think
Is she
she can
going
come
to
to.
Harbin?
Oh no, no, because it's a work trip. I mean, I can't have, and I don't know if Harbin allows pets.
Oh,
I
I
doubt
don't know.
it very much. I doubt that they allow pets. And what would I do with her when I'm working? That wouldn't work, really.
So your friend will take care of her.
I have another friend, not the one I'm staying with, because she already has some cats. So she's like, no, 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 I can't bring another cat in. So I have a different friend taking care of my baby. But yeah, it's going to be quite an adventure. She's never gone in the car that long, so I hope it's all going to go well. I'll be doing a lot of japa, a lot of prayer. That's how I made sure when I went on my trip this past weekend to camp out with friends. I was worried about the brakes on my car, and even though they were working just fine, I chanted a lot on the way there and on the way back to make sure that I got home safe and sound. So
Does she like it when you chant to Kali? Because it's her
it
name.
normally calms her down actually when I chant to Kali, but I'm mindful about when I chant to Kali because Kali is, she's intense when you invoke her. So but yeah, when she's really feisty and I can't calm her down, then I chant to Kali and that normally calms her down.
It's her name.
Exactly, exactly. So Yeah, well, I'm really glad to hear, by the way, that you're happy because I'm trying to figure out in terms of what you're receiving as a patron because I'm trying to figure out the balance and yeah, it's a little bit tricky to figure it out sometimes, especially sometimes I ask and then I feel like I don't get much back from people don't always reply when I'm posting and I'd love to hear more what people actually want versus me just shouting out. So I love that you love the chanting. Once I'm settled, once I've done Harbin and the Avenue of the Giants, then I'll make sure that I put in a chanting evening for us as well. Um, yeah, so not forgotten. Just we chanted we chanted almost every night at the retreat. We started off with a night chanting at my home overlooking the sea with a view. I've got a view of an island from where I live, and we did that right after dinner. We went to a beautiful place that actually served vegan food because we had at least two vegans in our party, and they did a pre-set menu for us to make sure that it accommodated all the dietary needs for the people. And so that was really lovely. And then we came back home to chant, and then we chanted out by the sea every evening. Um, but the participants wanted more time off at this retreat than I've ever experienced before. So the last couple of days I let the chanting go because they wanted more downtime. They just wanted time to do their own rituals and their own prayers and just relax. I think even with the yoga in the morning, then the last few days there was only one person going to yoga. So, um, but yeah, I taught some of the yoga, and then I brought in a friend who's just qualified as a yoga teacher, and she came in and she wants to become a yoga therapist. So it was actually really lovely seeing how I was taking people through sun salutations. Do you know what those are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and I don't think of those as major strength exercises, but the person I was leading that day was like, wow, this is much more intense than the other lady was teaching. She was doing much more therapeutic yoga. So interesting to hear the differences again.
Hmm.
I'm gonna press. Whoops. So the question was about practice and specifically in Bhakti Yoga, and if I have different flavors or if it goes in different directions at different times. And I have sort of a set of chants that I go to, a set of deities that I work with. I mean, I always work with Ganesha. It's great as a foundational practice to chant to Ganesha. And as I mentioned with my car and the brakes, needing to be tended to, in Mexico, it's 1,600 over $1,600 to get these brakes attended to. So this is a major. The ABS brakes have to be done. So anyway, so I was chanting to Ganesh, and I did 108 Om Gang Ganapatiye Namaha, Om Gang Ganapatiye Namaha, and then I was really worried. I was like, what if the brakes don't arrive on time, and what if I don't, I can't get to my intensive at Harbin. And so I was like, okay, so I've got this big obstacle in my path that I need help with. So I chanted to Hanuman and I chanted to Ganesha. And then I also chanted to Shiva. I chanted the Mahamrityunjaya mantra, the Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityo Mukshiyam Amritat. I chanted that because Shiva is the great space holder, right? And the great meditator. So I did that a bunch of times. So, um, you know, I love what Krishna Das says when he talks about the fact that we need to do some kind of practice every day. And I think if we're sitting trying to commit to 5 hours of practice a day, like none of us are going to end up sitting down. But if you can commit to 5 minutes, this is what I do with my Spanish because I have to practice my Spanish every day. And my bare minimum is that I have to do 5 minutes. Now, inevitably, of Spanish, right? Now, 5 minutes, everybody can find 5 minutes in the day. So if you start going, I just need to chant for 5 minutes, and you can pick a mantra. I mean, with what Maharaji Neem Karoli Baba says. He says sab ek, so it's all one, so it doesn't matter which deity you chant to. Now, it's really interesting because we were talking about the Hanuman Chalisa a little while ago, and the in there it says, I'm going to paraphrase totally, this is not a direct translation, but basically if you chant to Hanuman, you don't need to chant to any other deity. Well, there are many other chants that say, well, if you chant to Shiva, you don't have to chant to any other deity. If you chant to this one or that one or whichever one, you don't have to chant to any other deity. And the way I've come to understand that, this was actually explained to me by my friend Ekabumi Elik. He's like, when you're in love with someone, you think that they are the best thing ever, the most beautiful, the most auspicious, the most, the best person for you. So whichever deity you're picking, you're going to say that this is the only one that really needs your service. So that's the way I've made my peace with it. And I just listen to my heart. Sometimes the mantras just come from my heart. And I'll just start chanting to Krishna, or to Krishna's always a favorite of mine, or to Durga. But I notice like if you're playing something like Spotify or Pandora or something that just has an eclectic mix of different mantras, eventually, or you could even play YouTube, but it's nice to help get if you use Spotify, then the people get paid, the artists get paid, so I like that. But anyway, like I was chanting right before we started, Purnamadam, Purnamidam, Purnadachite, Purnama, what? Om Purnamadam, Purnamidam, Purnamudachite, Purnamadachayat, Purnameva Vashishyate, which means everything is perfect. Everything in all its forms was perfect. Again, I'm paraphrasing. But it's like resting in the perfection of everything already as it is. And what I notice is the more I chant, even if it's just while I'm doing other things, the right mantra or the right medicine for that moment will come up as I need it, because the mantras are sort of living inside of me. So I recommend setting aside at least 5 minutes a day just to do your practice, 5 or 10 minutes where you're sitting, focusing. And, you were sharing you have a Hanuman Chalisa practice, so you could use that, the time when you lead your practice. That's like the 3 or 4 minutes, and maybe you could pick when somebody else is chanting as well, and then really just keep your focus and all your attention on the words. But then just notice as you go about your day, if you're going for a walk, often when I'm hiking or when I'm in the forest, I notice the beauty, and that reminds me of Krishna. So then I'll chant, like I chanted Maha Mantra while I was driving. I had over a 2-hour drive, and I spent 40 minutes chanting Maha Mantra. Okay, I was driving, but I was still pretty focused on the mantra because I didn't have anything else to do but drive. So I think there are ways you can incorporate mantra quite easily into your everyday life without making it too tricky. And depending on who you talk to, but I don't think it matters who. I think it matters that you keeping your attention there and choosing to offer your devotion to this deity and your attention. I love, I've posted it a few times for the patrons, but there's a Vaishnava Kirtanwala, so a person who leads Kirtan, called Madhava Das. And he chants the Maha Mantra, I think it goes on for like 2 hours. It's one of the things I love about the Vaishnavas, Krishna devotees, that they will chant this one mantra. That is all they chant all day, every day. But this particular, it was recorded at a place called Chowpatty, and in India. And he says, you want to bring your 100% focus to each syllable of the mantra, to make it sound as beautiful as you can, to make it, because it becomes an offering. And then we're really practicing yoga. So then it's bhakti yoga. We can just be chanting mindlessly while we, chopping food or whatever. But if we can try and bring the sacred into everything, that's when it becomes yoga. And then we're really training the mind to have that one pointed focus. So So shall we chant a little before our time runs out? Let's do that because you made that lovely request. So we'll keep it to the Bija mantra for Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you as always for requesting the chanting. I love that so much. Just join in as you're ready. Start with 3 ohms. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, to offer our prayers for the benefit of all beings. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Sitting in that sacred silence. Feeling the mantra resonating and vibrating through you. Thank you for the joy of getting to practice with you. I didn't know we were going to chant tonight. It's one of the things I like about the AMAs is we get to do whatever we want, really, in this time. So let me pause this.